15 races ago, the OMSRL Cup Series embarked on one of the most intense journeys it's seen in its history. Tonight, that journey draws to a close in California. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to Green Flag TV. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Evan Basoko, bringing you all of racing action from this final chapter at the Auto Club Speedway. Evan, we may as well not beat around the bush, right? We all know why the people are here. All season long, James Silvers and David Farmer have been helping to push each other to win after win for Cornerstone Motorsports. Tonight, though, they enter the ring, not as teammates, but as championship rivals. Both of them are tied up at the top of the pylon, and it's winner takes all.
And I think no better place to be a setting for this winner-take-all championship than right here in Southern California. You know, it feels weird still, Nolan, to refer to this as the now defunct 2-mile D-shaped oval just outside of Los Angeles, but Auto Club Speedway preserved here on the sim, a cathedral of speed, sister track to the Michigan International Speedway. It is going to be a fantastic 200-mile winner-take-all finale by the time this thing is all said and done. And you kind of mentioned it there, the fact that both Silvers and Farmer, teammates, they've been working together for much of this season. How well do they work together tonight? Do they still work together up until some point? It's going to be interesting to see where the line in the sand is drawn between the 84 and the 4.
Having spoken to Alex Penn, the crew chief for Cornerstone Motorsports earlier today, I was asking what the game plan was going to be regarding strategy this afternoon. He said, and I quote, "I did talk to them a little bit about strategy, and it seems they both want to run the same one and leave it up to their on-track efforts, outside of maybe coming in a few laps early or late. I'm guessing they'll work together until late, since they both really want to get the team championship that we're still a few points out of." So Alex Penn thinks they're going to be working together for at least, I would say, the first 60, 70 laps or so. I think the 5 laps around the stage is going to be critical. That right now is, I think, the really big question mark. Because with those stage points, they could still tie at the end of this one, and then it'll come down to who's on top of the scoring sheets at the end.
Yeah, there is a lot of bonus points to keep in mind. So, you know, entering this race, it's pretty easy to say that whoever wins this race and whoever finishes the highest of those top 2 seeds in the championship is going to walk away with all of it. But if it is not a race win for either of them, things certainly get more complicated. To that point, right? 5 extra bonus points on top of the 1 point per position for everybody in the field goes to the race winner. There's 2 bonus points on the line if you could finish this race without a single incident point. And then there are individual bonus points for pole position, leading a lap, leading the most laps, and having the fastest lap. So there will be opportunities during laps number 1 through 99 to put yourself in position to make lap number 100 that much more important.
Of course, right now, it is all about who can get that first bonus point for pole position. Right now, that is going the way of James Silvers. David Farmer, at the end of his qualifying effort, only good enough for 7th on the sheets for now. Still got some cars trying to put down laps. Silvers is right now all the way up on the top, but not by much. And right now, the big question, will he stay there entering this final race? If he stays on top, he's already got a leg up on Farmer.
Yeah, he was the 3rd best car in the practice session earlier today, bested by the likes of Nathaniel Ames and Sean Boundy. Both of those cars have since qualified, and they have qualified slower than Silver. So if that 4 car is going to be prevented from scoring pole position, it means that somebody is going to have to jump up the speed charts and be faster than Silver's in qualifying, who was unable to be faster than him in the practice session earlier. You look at the likes of the 11, the 97, and those are some of the names you got to watch for as the likely targets. Robert Pattison, Austin Gaccione, and others, the next fastest cars from practice. Can they beat the 40.001 that has Silvers and Kaiser first and second on the speed charts right now?
I can tell you right now, it's not going to be Dallas Holscher or Robert Peterson. They're running at around 40 miles an hour right now, just trying to sandbag some of their laps. Jacob Noyes, one of the other drivers, doing the same. Austin Gaccione was really the only driver that had the chance to do that, and while he gets close, he'll only be good enough for 3rd. So with him being the last car to put down the time here in qualifying, Silvers will remain on top in the qualifying session. And as we've seen with championships before, that 1 point for starting on pole could be all it takes to decide this at the end of the night.
It's going to be a lead before the race even starts as the clock strikes down. The final seconds wind away. Qualifying has drawn to a close, and you can book it. It is a point in the back pocket for James Silvers, who will start from P1.
And alongside him on the front row is going to be Bandit Motorsports driver Sean Kaiser. How about that? A dead heat for pole position. That's something you don't see every day. Austin Gaccione started in third place. Sean Bounty back in the number 4 spot with Ryan Dingler of Badger Racing down in 5th. Aaron Morton starts 6th. Cole Fraley back in 7th. McColgan in 8th. And then Evan David Farmer, the other side of the championship battle, starting his race in 9th with Apex Racing's Gage Taft closing out the top 10.
And all of these cars only a 10th off of pull time, as it'll be Davey Hazard who starts in the number 11 position. He'll be joined by Jeremiah Hobbs on row number 6. Nathaniel Ames and Spencer Ray. They'll make up 13th and 14th spots on the grid, with Stefan Purcell and Maxwell Kroll in 15th and 16th. Back on row number 9, 17th starter tonight is the 17. Noah Swafford. He's joined outside by the 69. That's Brett Rucker in 18th. And back on row number 10, P19 starter, it is Adrian Loya, and P20 starter is Dallas Holscher.
Now we're getting into the drivers that were at the very tail of the field. Justin Wilson, 7/10 off the mark. He was the last driver to put down the representative time. Jake Noyes and Robert Peterson sandbagging their laps. About 3 minutes apiece with Miguel Robinson bringing up the tail of the field. The lone driver that did not set a qualifying lap this afternoon. So 24 cars potentially getting set to rumble out this afternoon for the Auto Club Speedway. The stadium lights, as we speak, have just flicked on, and now we just wait on the last place starter, Miguel Robinson. Not sure if he's going to be present with us here this afternoon, but everyone else is locked and loaded and ready to go. The first 35 laps are, I think, going to be the most intense we have seen all season long. You know how it is at Auto Club, right? Door to door, wheel banging action, and those stage points, they're not critical just for the number 1 spot. Third place also still up for grabs in a multi-way fight.
And only the drivers inside of the top 10 have the opportunity to score those stage points. So 10 points will go to the race leader at the conclusion, lap number 35, 9 points to second, 8 points to third, so on and so forth. 1 single point available for P10, and then none for anybody else on back. You also can't really go for broke going into the stage either, Nolan. You got to make sure that whatever strategy you put forth, it allows you to continue beyond that point. There will not be a yellow flag, which is, I think, most customary to see in a stage kind of break. To have a yellow slow things down, that's not going to happen. So we'll record the results as lap number 35. Points will be distributed, but we will keep on racing green.
I like this style, right? The fact that, you know, we cross over from 35 to 36, award those points. We just keep the race going, right? And make sure that there's no breaking in the flow. The race can still keep on keeping on. It's proven vital to these drivers to be able to keep a good strategy, right? And it does bring up a strategy game. Do you go for the stage? Do you go for the end of the race? Oftentimes, the strat doesn't line up either way.
And James Silvers has got a front row seat to it. He's your championship leader as we get set to go racing for round 16.
One more race, and we're going to get set to see who's going to be on top at the end of the night. Into the Geico restart zone. It's go, go, go from Auto Club. Of turn number 4, did not take long for the field to fan itself out. 3 and 4 wide down the straight. James Silvers, though, going to take another bonus point as he leads the first lap to green in Fontana.
So not only does he have an early lead, Farmer, his championship rival, back into the number 8 spot, but now he's up by 10 points total with a second bonus point in the back pocket. Silvers has the advantage of trying to use the clean air and avoid all of that chaos behind him. Some 3 wide, way back in the high teens, tail end of your screen. But up front, the 4 car leading the advantage. There's some of the chaos going on in the midfield. It's funny, one of the faster tracks you'll find on the calendar, and yet these drivers are going to be treating it like a short track, all over each other, using every single inch of this D-Mile oval. It is a fantastic racing facility, but now Silver's under fire up top. It is Boundy to the outside into the race lead.
Sean Boundy picks up the lead of the race with Rebel Racing number 34. So Silver's now in a bit of a spot of trouble here, slipping back as he's going to go back to the number 2 spot. Gassion thinking if he wants to maybe have a look for the FedEx number 11 Camry. No dice down the back straightaway. He is going to have that peak into turn 3. Look at the launch up top from Austin McColgan. Taking it 3 wide up on the Larson line up high.
And now he's going to get into the outside wall. That 9 car to the inside. Barrett Morton did not yield enough space. Still 3 wide at 197 miles an hour down into turn number 1. The 9 car of Morton still in the center. Way up top. McLaughlin really working the very outermost lane. Gave it a little bit too much though. Brushed the fence there. All of that ground he made up in the corner will be lost off at turn number 2.
And all the while, David Farmer climbing the ranks. He is now +2 on the day. Just got around Sean Kaiser. And now looking to the inside of the Riley's Rose for cystic fibrosis, number 16 of Ryan Dingler. Down into turn numbers 3 and 4. Dingler captures the outside wall. Could give Farmer the chance he needs to take another spot. But it looks like Dingler, with a snip of the draft to pull Fralick up the road, is going to be able to keep Farmer behind him.
Yeah, that outside line did a better job of drafting. You can see the 24 getting the draft off of the 16 machine, and now with Fralick way to the very outside. At 16 machine, Dingler not able to make that entry to turn number 1 stick. It'll hand the spot off. It's another position gain to David E. Farmer, now up 4 positions from where he started. Your championship contender, now a top 5 car, only 5 laps in here in Fontana. And it is those top 5 who have single filed things out for the most part. Battling going on for 9th position on back, and now a challenge up front. Is it going to be for P2? Here comes the 11 car to the inside on Silvers.
Gassion to the bottom side of James Silvers, seeing if he's got maybe an answer for him. Silvers maintains his strong momentum back up in the 2nd place position. Still got the entire pack stacked up realistically within about, we're talking 3 to 5 seconds of each other here. Boundy with a quarter-second lead, but it's so hard to break away from this place, and Fralick catches the outside wall again. That turn 4 wall taking a beating right now.
Yeah, I've heard of the Darlington stripe, maybe not the Fontana stripe, but it is getting its money's worth early on in this one. Silver's able to shake that challenge for the number 2 spot. You saw that Fralick used the outside line of the 15 to be able to get around Gassion, so that's how those positions in the top 5 shake out. Behind them, some more 3 and 2 wide. They shuffle and dice their way into line before they head back down into turn number 3. Way to the outside, that's the number 12 machine, and Jeremiah Hobbs on the very bottom of the racetrack. That's the pink 16 machine, Ryan Dingler. He'll kind of diamond that corner all the way to the outside, off and nearly troubled there, but they're going to hang on to it.
Kel Robinson catching defends something fierce, and now 1 car apron to wall. That was again the Oakley Camaro that nearly went back into the outside wall, nearly had yellow flag number 1 of the night, and it comes as Miguel Robinson attempted to get around Nathaniel Ames. He's got to squeeze him over the fence.
Yeah, they both ran in a room there, and you saw the 5 take evasive action. That was the car we saw dive to the inside. Robinson able to get out of it, but that turn number 4 has been calamity corner thus far tonight. No issues for the race leaders getting off of turn 4 this time around, but it is so critical to carry your speed. The draft is a big factor at a racetrack of this size. If you're a little bit tight on exit, if you're tracking a little bit too high, and you roll out of that throttle to make sure you make the corner, you're throwing away maybe a half a second. You saw it there with the 4 car of Silvers. Got a little bit tight, had to feather off of the throttle, caught in the wake of the 15, and because of that, he is now under fire. No challenge from McLaughlin to stay to the outside, so that 4 of Silvers maintains 3rd for now, but corner exit is critical here in Fontana.
Already the lap counter ticks Silver into double digits this afternoon as Bounty maintains his lead. So far, Bounty by far having led the most laps of the race. Silver's only really leading one or two, and if Silver's wants to get more security, he needs to get back up there and start clicking off more of these laps up the head of the field. The saving grace for right now, David Farmer has not been able to lead a single lap tonight, so Farmer's still running with that 2-point deficit on lap number 10.
That deficit continues. Farmer had gotten as high as the number 5 position. He slides back into the number 7 spot for now. Still within the 1 second of the race leader. Nothing to be concerned about. For a brief moment, some serenity inside of the top 10. They were all single file that time by the stripe, and a lot of the chaos we've seen in the midfield starting to single file out as well. I said it was short-lived, though. There's a challenge in front of the 34 car. It is Freilich, basically for the up and under on a Bounty for the race lead. The 34 saw the move coming, crossed him over on the exit, and Sean Bounty doing a great job of playing defense. He'll maintain the race lead. Freilich still sniffing for P1.
That was a textbook over-under from Sean Bounty. Did everything he did right there, completely to perfection. Cole Freilich gonna have to take notes. That move ain't gonna work on the number 34. And already at number 11 in books. Behind them, Austin McColgan and Austin Gassion side by side into turn number 1. The challenge for fourth as both drivers want to try to take the fight up to James Silvers at the head of the field. McColgan pushing for the inside, but still keeps it off of the fence. A few drivers, though, throwing up some smoke for the field.
You get 23 of the 24 cars who started this race all amongst this battle for the race lead. Only Adrian Loya, one of the drivers who has dropped the back. Loya about 10 seconds off pace and is not a part of any of these battles for position. Maybe hoping for a yellow flag to get back and into the conversation. One car going the wrong direction on the bottom. That's the 75 of Davey Hazard. It's him tucked back up in line. He lost his momentum off the corner and he was getting swallowed up by the field. Lost at least 2 spots on that run down the front stretch. But this is what I love about this racetrack. Every time we go into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, you got cars low, you got them in the middle, you got them on the outside wall. You can pick and choose your lane, really giving these drivers many opportunities on how they want to attack this race.
It is, I think, the ultimate multi-groove racetrack, and it is quintessential in putting on a good race, right? The fact that you're able to make all of these lines, I think that's why I like this track still. Don't get me wrong, I love Michigan. This track, though, Michigan's got nothing on Auto Club because Michigan tends to be a bit more of a bottom lane heavy racetrack. Multi-groove racing is possible, but tends to be the inside 2 or 3 grooves. Here, it's one of the few tracks that's over a mile and a half where you can really rip that outside wall and have just as much speed as the guy underneath you.
And you really can, and that's why I'm so happy that this racetrack will live on in this form here on the iRacing service. It's going to be providing us thrilling races like what we're seeing here tonight for years to come. And now the 12 of Hobbs trying to find a way by the 84 car, looking low, not going to find a spot there. He'll go to the outside as David Farmer, championship hopeful, doing everything he can to fight for position. There has been a bit of a gap that has opened up from this battle for position and up to the race leaders. Those top 5 cars scooting away just a little bit. Farmer able to shut down the challenge from the 12 of Hobbs, but again, we are seeing a gap form between the top 5 and this battle for P6 on back as now the 12 of Hobbs looking down to the inside once more.
And just in the mix here as well, Ryan Dingler, seen at the badge of race number 16, can have a look. Bob still running that middle lane and doing a good job, I think, of keeping that line pretty firmly situated where he's at. No big challenges at the moment from Dingler to Hobbs, and as I say, that might look for the inside here, coming out of turn number 2 to the back straightaway, and that's going to give Farmer some much-needed breathing room.
It gives him an opportunity to take a deep breath, and now the pressure goes from being on him to that 12 of Hobbs. The 16 of Dingler looking now to the outside of the racetrack. The 9 machine of Barrett Morton. First time we've talked much about that number 9 Chevrolet. Now looking to the inside on the 16 car. You can see how much more speed is carried up top. The 9 sees that. He will jump up in line in front of Spencer Ray. Get a push up to speed and we'll have to hit the reset button and try it again. So as soon as Farber was able to kind of shake that challenge from behind, the gap to the top 5 has stabilized. They're no longer losing time to the leaders, but they're a half a second back. Can they make that up? Well, this fight right here is not going to help. 3 cars going at it, and how about 3 wide behind them?
Going to lose out too for the bottom for the MWMF Motorsports driver. Up top, his teammate Noah Swafford might lose another one as Gage Tapp trying to find a hole up the middle, and that's going to quickly get back to 2 by 2 deeper in the field. Jacob Noyes catches the wall and has to pedal the car to get off of it down to the inside, but the Good Wrench Services number 3 still doing a good job of his own right and having a good race, just keeping it nice and clean, and we might very well have a challenger up front. Cole Fralick trying to get back around Bounty for the top spot.
Fralick has been aggressive for much of this race, has yet to lead a lap. Sean Boundy has led 16 of the 17 laps completed thus far. That is big in the championship conversation because the more laps he leads, the less likely Silvers or Farmer can lead the most laps and get another bonus point. But on the inside of the racetrack, Fralick has tried a couple of times, has been unable to lead a lap tonight. Does he finally get one there? No, he does not. By 1/1000th of a second, Boundy, the lap leader for the 17th time tonight. But in the center of turn 1, Fralick on the bottom, clear for the race lead. Boundy goes to cross him over. Can the 34 pull it back again?
Sean Bounty gets alongside. Fralick comes off the wall, trying to side draft a little bit down the back straightaway into turn 3. Bounty might get it back. He's got to clear up, though, across the nose of the 15. Fralick's loose, slides sideways, catches it, though, and Gassion will take advantage of that, make the attack for second, and Silver's thinking about 3 wide for third.
He's watching it. Can the number 4 car maintain that spot? Cole Fralick now in a weak position, was on the offensive. Now he's trying to defend, and look at the 4 on the left rear. There's contact. Silver sideways off at turn 2, got into the inside of Austin Gaccione, is able to reel that car back in, but the first scare of this race for what is your current leader, and with that, the 84 of Farmer passes him on the outside, and Farmer leads Silvers. Contact again.
No!
Spinner goes the 11.
Everyone in the championship misses him. Dingler catches them. McColgan catches him, and that is going to put us under the caution flag for the first time tonight. Right rear torn up on the FedEx Express number 11 here. That car is not going to be in a healthy way, as even right here, you can see how much that car is out of alignment. That's going to be honestly, that might be quicker than just tow back there. It's how much of a struggle that's going to be to work it.
And there's an extended conversation between Gaccione and Farmer on the radio. We'll wait to take a second look, but we had seen that move happen many times already in this race, Nolan, right? Somebody's on the bottom of the racetrack. They don't get the run off the corner that they wanted. They aggressively want to pull up in line. And that move, I think, happened just a little bit too late. You see the 11 out of control after he pulled up and took a shot from the 84, and right there's the big hit. A lot of damage to Austin McLaughlin's machine in the 51.
McColgan not having a good night for him, and that hit just comes at exactly the worst possible place as they could for Gassion. And now we'll jump a bit further back, and we'll take a look at this further at speed. This is down the back straightaway to 3.
Yeah, so you'll notice the 11 car is going to be on the inside of the racetrack. Naturally not going to be carrying the same amount of speed. So as they come up off the corner, he's going to want to get in front of the 84 car, get a bit of a push, get that spot. That's where they're all drafted up top. He goes up. There's not really a chance, I don't think, for the 84 to lift. He just comes up, takes a shot. Farmer holds his lane. And the 11, of course, gets spun. Would have been able to get away without damage if it wasn't for the hit. Here's Farmer's perspective.
Yeah, nothing Farmer did wrong there. You're going to make a move like that, you got to make it either a lot sooner or you got to be ready to deal with the consequences. I think Farmer's a victim in that one.
And my concern initially was, you see that, was there any damage to the front end of the 84 of David Farmer? At least nothing that I can visually see on that race car. And the entire field's going to be coming down pit road for service. So if there is any damage, we'll see the 84 stay in the stall longer. But I think he's lucky and gets away with it.
I didn't see any damage coming down into his box there. I think you're right. He may have just gotten away. It wasn't a hard hit either. It was just nearly enough. I think a very lucky man there, and no doubt Alex Penn, the crew chief for this team, is his heart rate's probably just now coming down a little bit from that. Farmer first out of pit road, and that is a game changer. He's going to be able to lead a lap under caution, and that will put him within one of Silver's in terms of overall points. You factor race points in, Farmer's up by one now.
So what an exchange on pit road. Farmer came down third, and Sean Boundy had quite the gap coming onto pit road as the control car. He had, at least 3 car lengths, but Boundy was too deep in the box, had to put it in reverse. So Boundy loses a handful of spots, and David Farmer, the one who takes advantage. And this time, Body, your point under the yellow flag. He will get 1 bonus point on the night so far. It'll be his first of this race, and that puts him back at a -1 compared to James Silvers. Although it's the outrun Silver right now on the racetrack by 2 spots. Your current championship leader is going to be Mr. David E. Farmer. A long way to go still, right? Only 23 laps soon to be in the books of 100. But that is the first time today that a Farmer would be your leader in the live points.
It may be under a caution, right? But hey, a point's a point. And when you're in this fierce of a title fight, you take the small wins.
And they don't ask you how, they just ask if it's on the stat sheet or not. And that's all that the 84 cares about here. And again, now an interesting opportunity, because again, if either of these drivers win this race, then you're talking about a big opportunity, a big opening. The fact that the race winner gets 43 points plus 5 bonus points. You see the damaged 11 on pit road. Not likely going to see that car back out for the restart. Maybe the night is done for Gassione, but for Farmer and Silvers, they were really far apart, admittedly, for those first 10 laps. Nolan, we saw Farmer drop it back for the lead pack, right? Hey, was he going to lose touch with him? Silvers was up front, got his lap led. It was very squarely in the camp of the 4 car, and now they're going to find themselves lined up on the inside of rows 1 and 2. We've got a long way to go, but at the restart, we'll be 11 laps away from stage points, and that's going to be another huge moment in this race.
Remember the words earlier on from the crew chief that they might be working together to try to secure the team's championship while they're at it here. They know it's going to be one of them that takes on the driver's championship. So no matter what, it's a CSM 1-2 in the driver's championship. Team's championship is still up for grabs. I think these next 11 laps, though, we might see a bit more, kind of fists up type of racing here as they try to secure those stage points. Then we might see them work together a little bit more until 20 to go, maybe. Green flag, though, comes back out into the air. Silvers immediately jumps up, clears from Cole Fraley, making it a 1-2. Cornerstone as they'll take off into turn numbers 1 and 2. Fraley trying to find an opening up on the high side of the racetrack. Dingor takes advantage as they get back up to speed. Down to the bottom, 1 car sideways, 1 car to the wall out of 2.
And 1 car in the fence. It's going to be a slow roll for maybe the 69 machine it was. Brett Rucker, he's going to go all the way to the tail end after getting stuck in the fence and being unable to pull it out. But this race stays green. And up front, Farmer first, Silver second. Your championship cars 1-2 at the moment. That 15 car of Freilic's been the instigator a lot tonight, but he's on the bottom and did not have the speed that time down the front straightaway. So that 34 car of Sean Boundy, bad trip on pit road, lost 3 spots under the yellow flag. Going to make his way back to the lead, and he'll win that battle for third, getting the run off at turn 2.
As Freilich jumps up, Ray going to jump down. Spencer Ray, of course, entered this season as 2-time defending and repeat champion. And now he is just watching on to see who's going to take over his throne at the end of the night. Sean Bounty, you saw Bounty really push Silvers up towards the outside wall. But I think this brings up another discussion, right? We're not exactly in a playoff format here, but everyone knows it's between those two for the championship. So if you're one of these other drivers, does this change how you race around them?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? I mean, those 2 cars are teammates, so there's also, maybe, I don't know if it's some self-control or how you want to describe it, right? But they're also going to give each other a little bit more room than you would if they were a championship rival. But listen, these guys are all aware of the circumstances. You would think that they're going to give a little bit extra to the leaders, but remember, David Farmer was basically almost involved in that yellow that just happened. So I think everybody you talked about, third is still up for grabs. There's a ton of points on the line. There's a ton of positions still up for grabs. They will be cognizant of the fact that Farmers and Silvers are fighting for the championship, but they are not going to pull over and to give this race to them, despite the fact that right now they're in first and second spot.
It doesn't help that they're side by side as well for third on back. Oh boy, Ray just able to find the hole between Sean Bowdy and Cole Freilich, and as Ryan Dinglor looked to the inside of Freilich as well. I think Ray's trying to go for some last-minute glory, trying to battle his way back up to the head of the field. Nobody really took any kind of unusual strategy on pit road. It was 4 tires and fuel all throughout. That's kind of what we were expecting to see. Roughly 20 laps into a run, but you can still see some drivers definitely exercising a lot more short-run pace on the first laps of that degree.
And with fresh tires, you're seeing a lot of what we saw out of the gate in this race, and that is cars using every single lane on this racetrack. You see all those different seams down the road where the different trips of pavement have kind of been seamed together, and it gives you a good visual of just how many different opportunities there are to put a car in a different spot on the racetrack, and that's what we're seeing everywhere. But Sean Boundy is driving with determination, almost clear for the lead that time. He couldn't do it. You go on to pour over the 84 to Farmer. Farmer not in the lead that time at the stripe, and he'll have the momentum of the nose in front off the turn 1. Boundy's going to want to clear here in the center and then hope that he's quick enough to not get crossed over by the 84 car. Boundy to the lead. The 84 is quicker on exit, not quick enough to challenge. And 22 laps in this race have been led by Sean Boundy, and after a mistake on pit road, he is right back up top in P1.
Farmer, we believe, still up by 1 point provisional here in this one. He did not lead enough laps to be able to take over the most laps led on the afternoon. That will still, I think, go the way of Sean Boundy. You saw James Silvers back there trying to force a hole between Ray and Freilich. Freilich did not let him in, though.
We've seen that a couple times tonight, especially on the front stretch. Drivers wanting to come in, and Freilich could have just as easily let the 4 car go. He did it, and that 4 car now up and into the door of the 6 of Spencer Ray. So James Silvers, you talk about, hey, are these drivers going to take it easy and yield a little bit to the championship cars? Well, that 4 James Silvers is not asking for any favors. He is using everybody up, and you got to know, as he gets a bit of the fence right there, that if you're going to be aggressive to the rest of the field, then you can kiss any leniency that you were hoping for them to give to you goodbye. And Silver's in a position where he feels like he's got to be aggressive. Farmer's all the way up into the number 2 spot, and Silver's right now struggling to maintain P5.
If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But Silvers and Farmer are 2 drivers that have proven time and time again this season they can definitely handle the pressure. They are working together, I think, to try and fight their way back to the front. Spencer Ray attacking David Farmer to the inside. Look at the arcing line that both Cornerstone Motorsport cars take, though. I love the philosophy. Enter high, exit low. Gives them such a good run down the straightaway. When they're linked up bumper to bumper like this, they're nigh unstoppable.
And you can see when they're all working together, the top side gets about an extra 3 to 4 miles an hour at its best. Now Boundy's way out in front of this. The leader trying to pull away. This is all the battle for second on back. 3 wide off of turn number 2. That 5 car on the bottom, and Michael Robinson, no surprise, the slowest car, unable to carry the speed through the corner. But I do find it interesting that it's not like these drivers are stuck in a lane every time, Nolan. We just saw that 6 of Spencer Ray. He was high in 1 and 2. He just took the bottom of that time in 3 to 4. These drivers are comfortable mixing up which lane they're taking lap by lap. It's not like this guy's car only runs good up top and this guy's car only runs good on the bottom. These drivers have options. They're going to go wherever they can any single lap.
2 laps to go in stage number 1. Sean Boundy up at the head of the field right now. We believe Farmer and Silvers, correct me on my math here, Evan, but I do believe they are tied right now for the points. And this stage, if Silvers doesn't do something quick, could give Farmer a huge leg up on him.
And as you look up a couple of spots, that number 4, James Silvers, in the ongoing battle with David Farmer. A great visual of the battle for the championship. The 4 car Silvers now back in front of Farmer. First time that they flipped these positions back since just after the restart. And now in the live points, it would be Silvers by 2 points over top of David Farmer. In terms of this championship battle, remember the other thing that you have to keep in mind that's difficult for us to double check as that 84 Farmer goes to the bottom. There's a point on the line right here. We'll hold that point. Coming to the end of 35. Stage points being cashed out. Bounty's going to be in front, and Silvers will stay ahead of Farmer.
From there, it is going to be Dingler, Ray, Frailing Robinson, Teff, Kaiser, and Morton to close out the top 10. Nice and tidy, nice and orderly. All single file across the line. And now it's a sprint to the finish.
And that's going to be 11 points so far pocketed for James Silvers between the 2 single bonus points. And now 9 points for the stage points. Just put him at 11. Farmer's going to score 8 points there at the stage. He had 1 bonus point earlier in this race as well, so put him at a 9. So Silvers has scored 2 points more than what David Farmer has done so far tonight. Again, this will ultimately come down to finishing position in the race. It'll come down to if one of these drivers can win the race or not. That's where the most points are on the line. But as they run now, give the edge to Silvers by 2.
So James Silvers maintaining his run at the head of the field. And now, you know what? I actually just realized something. The results of the bonus from finishing this race with the 0X has Farmer thrown that away with his contact with Gassion earlier on.
Yeah, that's what we need to double check. And no, I don't know if we can confirm is, there's 2 points available. If you can finish this race with 0 incident points, what was the incident count registration for Farmer? I've seen drivers have a car pull up in front of them like that, and it count as a 0X. I've seen it also count as a 1X. Whatever the sim determined that for Farmer with that contact could have huge implications.
Well, and I think the initial contact would absolutely be a 0X, right? The question is the fact that he spun immediately after. Does that then turn that 0X into a 2X for Gassion's loss of control?
And any point, right, doesn't matter if he gets a 4X, a 1X, or a 2X, any sort of incident point would take away those 2 bonus points, which required you to finish a race with no incident points. So that's a key. And if you assume, all right, let's say hypothetically we think Farmer's got an incident point in that one, take those points away from him. Let's hypothesize that James Silvers, on the other hand, does not have any incident points. That would give Silvers an additional 2-point benefit over Farmer in the points and would grow the lead from 2 points to 4 points as they run on the racetrack right now. And I promise you, these drivers are teammates, so you saw they were very respectful racing around one another a little bit earlier on, but I promise you they've got somebody on the box taking all of these calculations in mind. They may not be sharing them with the driver, right? I think there is something to be said about a controlled release of information. You don't want to give your driver too much info. You're going to let them know things on a need-to-know basis, but I promise you there's somebody on that team stand there for the Cornerstone Motorsport Group that's doing the math that we're doing and trying to get a picture of who needs to do what and when.
So I'm going to... Let's go on a limb here. Let's say that the 0X is still intact because it was so marginal as to whether or not that would be a 0 or a 0 turn to 2. Silvers is still up by 8 because Farmer's pace has just tanked over the last several laps. And now we find him all the way back running in the 8th place spot. Silver's still up in second. Several drivers between them. Farmer, I don't know what happened to his pace. I think he might have burned his stuff up on the restart. But he is in a critical situation right now.
It is going the wrong direction for Farmer, and this is where we saw this race start, right? Farmer was the one who qualified way back in the number 9 spot with some work to do, knowing that Silvers on pole had the advantage. And then as the longer green flag run worked in up until the yellow we had around lap number 20 or so, the 84 became the better car. We're seeing the opposite story on this run. Farmer just ahead of a good battle behind him. That's the 24 of Kaiser, the 97 of Peterson, and a battle for 9th and 10th position behind him. Give it another 10-15 laps. Let's see. Is Farmer still struggling then late in the run? Then I would be concerned.
the while, we now have to start wondering about green flag pit stops because we're probably not too far away from that window opening as well. Drivers, of course, not safe to go the distance this afternoon. And, trouble back straightaway. Jacob Noyes has gone for a slide.
No yellow yet, but that car slow on the racetrack could be a problem because the race leaders are going to be coming around in a little bit. Looks like this is going to stay green, and now no, the yellow does come out. There's a second look at how it all happened. It was contact at a battle for 17th position at 12 that who got into him. That was Jeremiah Hobbs, and I thought for sure, Nolan, we were going to be able to get away with that one, but the 3 just was spending way too much time on the racing surface, and you need better than that if you're that 3 car. That was avoidable.
Boy, oh boy, second yellow flag on the track. Just shy of the halfway point by about, what, 7 laps or so here when we get to the stripe. Again, expect everybody in a pit road, and this might be enough to put them to the end. They might need one more, though.
Yeah, I think we're going to be on the outside looking in. And then, any subsequent yellows will give drivers opportunities to save fuel. I think that could put you in a conversation to get to the distance. But the way that we've seen these cars pitting every time we've gotten a yellow would lead me to believe that if we get any more cautions later on, they're just going to be back down pit road again. But let's see what happens on pit road. Remember, Sean Bounty led us on pit road last time. He messed up on the entry to his pit stall, went too deep, had to put it in reverse. He lost a couple of spots. So what I'm looking for is, can the 34 make a clean pit stop? And also, this is not a unanimous decision. Last time down pit road, everybody pitted. This time, we've got 5 cars staying out. So the battle on pit road is going to be the battle for who can restart P6.
The cars that stay out are Freilich, Ray, Teff, Peterson, and Morton. I have to believe that means we got a field game ahead of us here. I don't think these drivers here can go the distance. That's what that's telling me. Another pit stop is going to be in order under green, and it's going to be those top 5 that are going to be looking to make it a one-stop from here. Staying out on the racetrack. By the way, Sean Kaiser, another big decision here. Not everyone's taking tires. Kaiser took fuel only. Same with Purcell, McColgan, and Justin Wilson. Our champion contenders both took 4. Brett Rucker took 2.
So a very different story, which I'm interested by, Nolan, because the first run of this race was about 20 laps that we saw everybody come down pit road for pretty much uniform service. Now this time, you've got some cars on none, some cars on 2, some on 4. Here's one more look at the incident off of the corner. The 09, the 3, they're holding pace. That 12 car just push it up. Would have been fine if they were 2 wide, but you just can't go that high on the exit of the corner if you're 3 wide. And it's a good piece of driving by the 3 to lock it down. Again, at this point, there was no yellow flag. And then it was when he tried to get on the throttle and get through the gears right there, traffic coming, that is where the caution flag was thrown from. And that's a close call there. Again, that's a yellow flag you're going to want back if you're the 3 machine, because I think that one was avoidable and we could have stayed green.
I am immediately having flashbacks to Darlington of last night with the high time racing league, where one of the drivers that crashed the inside wall, let themselves roll, ended up getting pretty much T-boned at about 150 miles an hour. Reports coming in, by the way, Silver's anticipated to still be up 2 after stage without factoring in the 0x bonus. So this is assuming that the 0x bonus is not in play for either driver. Obviously, we will not be able to get official word on that until post-race, but just for simplicity's sake, we'll say that they're on even footing with that for now.
Yeah, David Farmer, by the way, maybe listening into the broadcast, letting us know. He says that he has a 4X, so he does have an incident point attributed to him. So that would take him out of contention to being able to get the 2 bonus points. He is also reporting that James Silvers does not have an incident point, which is what we suspected. There had not been an incident yet involving the 4. So that accident for the first yellow flag of the night did give a 4X to David Farmer. That's going to take the possibility of 2 bonus points away from one of your championship cars. That's a big storyline to watch. Also, we have yet to see a restart tonight so far, Nolan, where both of your championship contenders are back in traffic. That's what we're going to be looking at here as they get set to restart in 8th and 13th.
Working our way back into the Geico restart zone. Adrian Loya and Austin Gassion catching up for the tail of the field. Gassion back onto the racetrack, but laps down. As a result, having to stay in for damage repairs. Green flag back into the air, and racing action resumes once again. Freilich again with a good launch out in front, but currently vulnerable with that traffic. These guys get themselves single filed out. Gage Taft pulls clear for the top side. Remember, the top 5 or so, top 6 or so, still on old tires and on alternative fuel strategies here as well. Silver's really the first driver that's got fresh rubber, and he is going to look to make short work of this field when he tries to drive to the point.
And doing what he can to get through the field. You've got the likes of Johnny Kaiser also out there with more fuel, but Kaiser did not stay in the box to get 4 tires, and that's why Silver's first car on 4 is the one making moves on the outside of the racetrack. He's going to try to go high, but his options are limited. They're basically 4 wide, occupying every single lane in front of him. And the 97 up top, Robert Peterson seals off the top, still nowhere for the number 4 car to go. He'll stay in line outside. He gets the run. It'll be 2 spots, and the benefit of Silver's there. Can he split the gap? That was a close one. He backed out of it. A little bit of hesitation. That's going to hurt the 4 car.
Thought about it, decided better. Still long race. Contact with Kaiser there. Door to door. 3 wide on the front straightaway. And right now, up top, pushing the number 4 of Silvers, it is Austin McColgan. One of the drivers involved in that first caution that saw David Farmer lose his 4X. Ryan Dingler pushing for the bottom. He's going to make contact with one of your title fights.
Yeah, Dingler in the 16 machine nearly gets in there to the 84 of David Farmer. So 2 laps and 2 close calls for both James Silvers and David Farmer. That's what happens when you start in traffic. You start with a bunch of cars on different strategies. You're going to have some close moments there, and they've each had a couple of them in short order off of the restart. 2 laps to halfway home in this race. 3 wide, a battle for the race lead up front. Freilich, the advantage that time on the outside.
Ray got around him in 4, but couldn't maintain the momentum down the front straightaway. Now Shaw bounding him and clear for the bottom side. So Freilich tucks in line behind to the Simrat Market Camry. Gonna look to the bottom side. Of course, Sean Bound is not going to be able to get away with this that easily. It's Auto Club. You're never going to be able to get away with anything so easily. But Bounty holds him down inside and rips clear off of turn 4.
He's got the spot and a big run for the 6. That's Spencer Ray, but options are going to be limited. Look at the chaos on the front straightaway as there are cars all over the place. Boundy cycling through to the race lead, courtesy of 4 tires in a fuel. The most dominant car on the afternoon is now back in control. How long can Ray, can Freilich, 2 of the cars who stayed out, maintain track position? They're still 2nd and 3rd. The 5 machine of Mikel Robinson going to have other things to say about that, looking to the inside in the center of 3 and 4.
Halfway home, this time by 59.50 to go. Big door check from Silvers to Cole Freilich. Hard to believe that it's only halfway. So much has happened in only 50 laps. And if this is the type of race that it's been for the first 50, I almost don't want to imagine what the back 50 is going to look like.
We are a long way from home, but at least counting down instead of counting up. 49 laps to go in this race the next time by. Boundy very quickly pulling out to the biggest advantage for the race lead we have seen so far tonight. No contest up front. Meanwhile, Farmer right here on the inside of the 15 of Freilich in a battle for the number 5 spot. Farmer trails championship contender James Silvers, who is up the road in 3rd. It is interesting, both of your championship contenders, as there's a couple of 3 wide moments there. Nolan, both those championship cars on the same strategy. We kind of thought out loud about this at the start of the race, right? These are teammates. They're used to working together. You mentioned you talked to the team, and they said they'd likely stay on the same strategy until late in this race. That proved true on that pit cycle.
I almost feel like Farmer should have tried something different, right? When Silvers has started to put points on you, it's not going to work to just follow the footsteps. Change it up a little bit. See if he can do something in the pits to give a fight to him. I think right now Farmer might have shot himself in the foot by copying the strategy. There is still room for a strategy game later on down the line. But at this point, it effectively comes down to if he wants to try to go for an undercut or an overcut.
And we've seen maybe the better car on the long runs in this race be David Farmer's. Silver's has been better on the shorter runs. Again, sample sizes are limited, but again, you find them at a divide here. They're only one spot apart. Silver's is third, Farmer's is fourth. But look at all those cars lined up behind David Farmer right now. There's nothing that Farmer can gain at the moment because he's almost a full second behind Silver's, but there's a lot that he can lose. And S84 is in a pressure cooker right now because all of this is happening directly in his rearview mirror.
And all of these drivers fighting for some last-minute glories of their own seasons. As you see Dallas Holscher trying to get down the inside of the Sullivan Tire machine of Sean Kaiser. There goes Jeremiah Hobbs stuffing it in. I was already wiped out one car tonight by doing that. It doesn't look too good when you do it twice in a row. Of course, Auto Club. Oh, trouble! Morton spins into the infield. Lifted by Nathaniel Ames. Caution comes out. Slides back towards traffic. He's going to walk it down. And we'll keep the field safe.
Third caution flag on the night. That was a high-speed tangle between the 9 and the 28 in a battle for what was 8th and 9th position at the time. You take a look as they go down the front straightaway. That 28 had the run, was pulling out a line, and I don't know if that 9 Nolan was really committing to a block, but he was certainly kind of shading off of the fence as the 28 went low, and then once those two cars got together, they could not get off. And I'll say this, big credit to both of them for being able to keep it out of the pit road wall. There's another look there. There's not a lot of front stretch grass, despite the size of this racetrack with that wall that protects pit road. And I thought for sure the 9 car was going to be destroyed.
Look again as you'll see quite a bit of airtime caught by Nathaniel Ames in particular there. When all 4 wheels off the ground. Beautiful save really from both drivers. That could have been a pretty monster incident down to the pit road. I think my question now, Evan, pit stops. We're nowhere near. I don't think we're able to make it to the end yet from here if you come down. What do you do?
And this is the first different look we've had tonight. Every yellow to this point has been with about 20 laps on the tires. For the cars who had pitted on the most recent one, they've only been out there for 12. It is tricky. I think for those who stayed out last time, I think you got to come down pit road. The Rays, the Freilichs of the world who have been out there for 33 laps and more. But Sean Aboundy only been out for 12 laps. He wants to come down pit road. Mikkel Robinson will stay out for the number 2 spot, assume the race lead. So does Jeremiah Hobbs. But other than that, almost everybody down pit road. That's surprising to me.
I think another pit stop then still in order. Might not be able to make it to the end. I think a lot of these drivers here, especially for Silvers and Farmer, they're trying to make sure that they don't get undercut by a good chunk of the field and be sent to the tail because it was so 50-50. I don't think anybody wants to take the chance of being left behind. No tires really being taken here. Fuel only for pretty much everybody so far that I've seen in the pits. So this is just a top-up.
Yeah, it is very short in the box, which may be an indicator that these drivers feel like this may be enough for them to go to the end of the race. A splash of fuel with 43 laps to go in this race. Again, if they need a yellow, if they need any type of fuel savings to get to the end, then I don't think it makes sense to try to stretch, because if you get a yellow and you need those laps under the yellow to save you fuel, you're going to be pitting again for tires anyways. But the fact that the majority of the cars in that time went for fuel only, for Bundy, Silvers, Farmer, Dingler, and more, they must feel like they can go the distance with the fuel that they just put on board right there under this third yellow.
So it's more 50-50 than I imagine. Kind of checking back on the pit stop times here. Freyler took 4 tires, swapped on fuel only, everybody above them on fuel only. But then everyone behind them, all the way back to Nathaniel Ames, is on 4 tires, and everyone behind Ames is also then on 4 tires as well. Barrymore's coming back down to the pit road to top up on the fuel here. So this is a really 50-50 call, and I think for Boundy, Silvers, Farmer, and more, What they're planning now is there's going to be a late race yellow. He might only have one set of tires left.
And that is the other thing to keep in mind is, you know, it was pretty much wholesale decision by everybody, with the exception of, I think it was the 5 cars who stayed out to go down and take tires the first 2 cautions. They may have been a little bit overzealous with those decisions. And to your point, yeah, you may have to save maybe your 1 set remaining for 1 more yellow. So they may have wanted tires at this point, but if they can't burn them, then all you have left to do is just go for the splash.
Both drivers from Midwest Motorsports will lead the field 1-2. I can expect them to try to get clear, but I don't see them holding on to that 1-2 for very long here.
Yeah, 14 laps since they last pitted. They're not going to have a tire disadvantage, so that's something to keep in mind. But
Yeah.
I think even just straight up, I don't think either of them have shown anything to prove they're faster than Sean Bounty tonight, right? So I think the fact that, you know, Bounty's right behind him on equal tires helps the 34, but let's see. I mean, it's been all Sean Bounty up front tonight. Can anybody else enter that conversation here in the second half of the battle for the race win?
Coming around. Back to the front straightaway. Green flag back in the air into the Geico restart zone. Good getaway from Robinson. Good getaway as well from Hobbs as they will fan out down the front stretch into turn 1. Oh, look out. 1 car sideways in the tail of the field. Hard hit the inside wall and then into the tires for Stefan Purcell. That's going to be a day ender. No caution, though. Will stay green.
Yeah, Purcell's going to get rolling again, but that thing is heavily torn up after he restarted in 19th position. Likely going to be limping it back to pit road. Up front, 3 wide for the race lead. Right down the center comes the 34 of Sean Bounty, and they've got nothing for him. Race leader is Sean Bounty. Here comes the crossover again, though. He sees the 5 of Robinson driving in deep, and somehow that 5 car made it stick.
The aggression is starting to pick up, and we're starting to see this play out more and more. Take a look back at what happened here to Stefan Purcell as he comes around turn numbers 1 and 2, and this one, just the result of, I think, cold tires, lost it all by himself.
Yeah, and I mentioned front straightaway, not a lot of space to the wall. Sam on the back, and man, he not only was that pancake on the left-hand side hearted off into the safer barrier. Oh, the 3 car now sideways. Look out into the grass, and mowing the lawn down the front is Jacob Noyes. So that was another big moment. Noyes, Purcell, both have had big single car moments, Nolan, and through all of that, this race has been able to stay green.
Plus sides of having these happen at the tail of the field, right? Nobody's going to overreact and pull the caution trigger with it so much. So, 40 to go. Looking for 39. Bounty up top picks off the move from Jeremiah Hobbs. I'll tell you what, these guys are, you know, we might have dishonored the name a little bit here. We said they might not stay up at the front for very long, but at least Robinson's making one heck of an argument for it.
Yeah, they're making a show out of this one. You know, obviously the overarching story here is those 2 cars right there that are lined up nose to tail. The 4 of Silvers, the 84 of Farmer, teammates, championship competitors, right now drafted partners. They're pushing each other down the back straightaway, but the rest of the field, give a tip of the cap to them inside of 40 to go now. They have made this thing a show, and the battle for the win and the battles throughout the field have been just as exciting tonight.
Robinson maintains the momentum for the lead, picks off another lap. Bounty, though, looking like he wants to take it back to the inside of turn number 1. And the Camry all the way down to the apron. He's going to clear him. Got to sweep up across the nose. Not clear, not clear. He gets out of it at just the last possible moment. Nearly got right rear hook hard into the wall.
And it is not a zero-sum game when you're playing chicken at 185 miles an hour. This is go time. Not that these drivers were showing much restraint early in this race, but they have really turned it up to 11. The 34 of Bounty has been untouchable tonight, but here comes Silvers down the throat, 3 wide into turn number 1. Can he get there? Yes, he will. Give it to him for the time being and clear off the corner. It is his. Race leader is maybe the championship leader as they run right now.
Holy cow, what a move for Silvers to put himself up on the point, but here comes Farmer looking for it now. Farmer down the inside, Bounty 3 wide, caught in the middle, doesn't want to take either driver out. He might lift out to avoid getting involved. Silvers clears now across his teammate. He'll lead another lap on the line, and Farmer not able to secure.
And so far not able to get all the way by. Now Farmer's going to have to try this from the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to want to get ahead of Bounty in the center of the corner and to pull up on exit. It's exactly what the 84 car is going to be able to do, and there is no crossover from Sean Bounty. A perfect 1-2 right there for David Farmer. He's through. Now Bounty takes a shot. He got hit by Dingler. That 34 was way over speed into the turn, and he's going to have to get out of the throttle off of 4 to make the corner. Big hit behind him.
One car up into the fence. I think that was Justin Wilson. No, Robert Peterson. That got him into the outside wall pretty heftily. No time to dwell on it, though, because we're still double file like it's a 180-mile-an-hour pace lap into turn numbers 1 and 2. Bounty bobbling from the inside line. How they didn't wreck into turn 3 that last time by. Completely beyond me. What a race we're having for the finale at Auto Club.
Yeah, and who would have thought the restart was already 10 laps ago? These cars are still going at it. Most of them on older tires. You would think that the fresh tires would make it more competitive, but I think the old tires have opened this one up. Freilich got loose into Robinson. He catches it. Look at the 6 car is Spencer Ray now. He'll go through the middle, make it a P6 to P3 charge as he's down on the inside of the 5. All of this, well, Silvers runs in first. That 16 of Dingler almost took him out, had to get out of the throttle. Here comes David Farmer.
I think it may have caught James Silvers a moment there. David Farmer to the lead. Robinson back to the inside, looking for the number 2 spot. Farmer pulls clear from top. Silvers trying to do the same. This is the hazards of getting involved in your non-championship contender. Brian Dingler has already been dumped all the way back outside of the top 10. And now Farmer starts to take away laps, but being just, no, actually, hold on. Being in the race lead, Farmer will win this race on points if he finishes in the lead like this.
Yeah, remember 43 points for the winner, 42 for second, so on and so forth. But the big thing that works in his favor is the fact that there's 5 extra bonus points that go to the race winner. So if Farmer's running there and Silvers is running third, you're looking at a 7-point spread, not a 2-point spread. And that 7 points would be enough to make up for the incident points, to make up for the lack of bonus points. Farmer's doing what he needs to do, but again, it's all dependent on the win. P2 not good enough if he were to finish there. Freilich to the race lead, and that again puts Farmer back to second and Silvers back to the championship lead.
They can't keep doing this. Sooner or later, the other shoe's going to drop here, and we're going to have a massive incident. These guys have been playing with fire the last few laps. I talked about how I wasn't sure how these last 50 were going to go down with how intense the first 50 were, and this is all happening with 31 laps to go yet. I mean, this is insanity. Robinson pings off the door of Bounty.
They are doing their best, and I don't see this lasting the 31 laps until we get to the end of the race. And if I'm Farmer, if I'm Silvers, at this point, I'm feeling like a wreck's coming. I just want to be in front of it when it happens. It is no holds bar. Full chaos in the 16th and final race of this OMSRL Cup Series season. The battle for the championship, the headliner, but what an opening act and what a second card the rest of this race has been. They are putting on a show, and you don't know where to look on any given lap.
There's just so much going on at any given point. And once again, Auto Club making a very strong case for why I feel like this is one of, if not the best championship finale tracks on the iRacing service. It lends just enough of that super speedway-esque excitement to always be a wild card, but it also requires just enough driver skill that it's not just going to be down to luck of the draft. You really have to work for a win here, and that's why winning here is oh so special whenever it comes around.
And maybe, as they sit 2x2, Nolan, the first opportunity since the restart to take a deep breath. Who would have thought that 2x2 was our best chance to do so? Boundy really starting to struggle now. He may have cooked those tires with some aggressive moves off of the restart. He had been untouchable in the first half of this race, and since the last restart, he just has not been able to figure it out. Boundy all the way down to 11th. That is by far the worst we've seen him tonight.
Still over 25 laps to go. Evan, before this race, I designated you the official scorekeeper here because my brain doesn't tend to be able to keep up with all of this stuff. Farmer now in second, Silver's in sixth. Does this tie them for the points?
Well, again, we're going to have to operate on the assumption that Silver's still has no incident points and that Farmer does. And if we operate on that assumption until we know otherwise, that puts them 4 points apart. And right now they're 6 spots apart on the racetrack. So with the way they run now, I think it's still in David Farmer's hands. Even if Farmers were to drop back to second position, then we'd be looking at, I think, a tie as they run, if you assume that it would be a 4-point difference if they finish 4 points away on points. So it is very close. Again, the win may be more critical than you would assume just because of the 5 bonus points that comes with winning this race.
And of course, if they do tie on the points at the end of this race, then if Farmer wins the race, it will go the way of David Farmer because they would tie for the wins on countback, and Farmer has more top fives. Whoa, look out behind! Sean Kaiser going for a slide! Down onto the apron, caution comes out, and this will put us with under 25 to go.
And now we're going to see for sure what everybody's cards are in terms of fuel, tires, and whatnot. And it was only a matter of time until it all fell apart. Look at the slow-mo. That 51 is where this started. It was McCoglin who got sideways off the corner, and it just backed up the 75 and the 24. They got together. Kaiser gets turned. Boundy was that car that almost went up in the air, Nolan. This thing is really falling apart for Boundy in the second half.
Yeah, Sean Boundy nearly being sent up and over with this one. Look at him get up on 2 wheels, and even from that camera, you can still see the undercarriage of that car. Dangerous spot for Boundy to be in. This race still has yet to draw to its eventual conclusion. 25 to go at the line, 4th yellow flag, and again, if that's the type of race that we're seeing on lap 65, Evan, I think we might be in for a caution straight here.
Well, they say cautions breed cautions. To be fair, I feel like the last 20 laps consecutively were just one really long, drawn-out wreck because we knew it was coming. But, yeah, you thought that was crazy. Now we're going to get everybody on equal tires. Again, they're all going to be racing to the end of this race. There's Boundy nearly up and over off of turn number 2, and I think I'm going to join you on that one. If I was a betting man, I would say that this is not the final yellow of the night. But if you've got tires left, it may be your final good opportunity to take them. A lot of big names coming down pit road. It includes your top 2 in the championship. Farmer, the first car in. Third car in line is James Silvers.
Cole Freilich, Spencer Ray, Gage Taft, Austin McColgan, Justin Wilson, Bear Morton, Jacob Noyes all stay out on the racetrack. They last stopped on 56, and that was for tires. Morton came back down the lap after to top up on the field numbers. Everyone here in for tires, and these, we believe, might very well be their last tires of the night. And if it is, then boy, oh boy. So
they are once again going to find themselves, Nolan, assuming we don't see any late decision to pit by the likes of Freilich, Ray, Taft, and others. So again, I think if you're staying out at this point, you're kind of committed to that. Those cars, your championship cars, are going to be right in the Hornets' nest once more. And they have had some close calls tonight. In fact, they've had many close calls tonight. And you'd hate for this championship to come down to who's involved in a wreck and who's not, but the chances of that go way up when you put those cars back there in the melee.
Tonight's race, of course, is brought to you by the Riley's Roses for cystic fibrosis, specifically courtesy of Riley Cameron Morton, daughter of Barrett Morton, who suffers from cystic fibrosis. If you wish to donate to that cause, to their walk team, there's a QR code, bottom left of your screen. They will happily take any donations that people are generous enough to offer. They are sponsoring the final race, the OMSRL Cup Series season, which is about to go green with under 25 to go.
Well, it's all come down to this, right? 15 weeks these guys have gone at it. They've had many triumphs and tribulations between the two of them, all to the point where you get to this round number 16, tied in the points. Again, there will be bonus points, which if they finish this close together may be the deciding factor, but if you ignore the bonus points for a minute, final race, tied coming into it, and you're going to be starting next to each other for the restart. Incredible stuff that you can't script any better.
It really does feel like Hollywood at some point, right? I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes reality is stranger than fiction, and this is why I often say you don't really need a playoff format or chase format to have a good title fight. Just have a year-end points format, sit back, the fight will come. All you need is a competitive field, and look at what we got here. I think that's what makes this so much more special, right? This isn't a Final Four situation. This is just what the points have shaken up to after, 15 races, factoring a couple of drop weeks here and there. It's awesome. It feels so much more special like this. Cole Freilich into the restart zone, this time by putting the restart into the air. Great flying is out with 23 laps to go. Freilich clears into turn one. Gage Tempt in hot pursuit. And Evan Spencer Ray up high with third. And behind already, you see drivers trying to cut through the field on fresh rubber.
And now Freilich's got a good opportunity outside of the domination from Sean Bounty earlier. Cole Freilich's 15 laps led is the most out of anybody else. How about the 4 wide into turn number 3, way on the inside? Jacob Noyes has been quiet tonight. He started in the 20s. Justin Wilson started in the 20s. He's a top 10 car. Also, big opportunities for drivers who started back in the pack.
Fraley maintains the lead. It's a 3-car breakaway up front. Still, one car to the wall, but Cole get up into the fence in turn number 1. Barrett Morton going to get around him. Farmer going to sneak through on the inside. That puts 2 cars now between David Farmer and his teammate James Silvers. Up front, Gage Tempt looking to make the lunge for the lead.
Trying to get to the top position. Freilich going to have the benefit of the run off of the corner. He sees that 33 pushing up, yields to not have the contact. That's a good decision for the 15 car. Spencer Ray and Gage Tempt have yet to lead a lap at all in this race. Right now, they sit in second and third with a great opportunity to do so. Freilich goes to the bottom, maybe trying to put that 6 in some dirty air, but that wasn't the optimal line for Freilich. Freilich's into the outside wall. Here comes Ray for the race lead, and from 4th to 3rd, David Farmer enters the picture.
Farmer trying to look low. Ray might get the chance to lead the lap, but it may very well only be 1 lap led on the day. Farmer looking high out of turn number 4. Will he steal that 1 lap from Spencer Ray away this afternoon? No, he will not. 20 laps to go in Fontana.
Inside of the final 20 laps of this race, and Spencer Ray just got lap lead number 1 of the afternoon. We've seen both of your championship cars lead laps in this race. They both secured that bonus point. Look at the 4 of James Silvers. He's an easy one to find. Through the middle, 3 wide, trying to catch his championship counterpart in David Farmer. Farmer going to use the outside. He'll stay ahead of Spencer Ray to go to the lead, and Silvers use the middle to go 3 wide to 3rd. He wants more, looking for P2.
No! Cole Freeling turn into the infield, high speed spin down hard into the inside wall, right down towards pit road. Big hit of the fence for the sim ramp Mark 15, and that could end his season with a whimper.
Yeah, it's a tough break there, and there's no yellow. We're going to stay green up front. Meanwhile, Spencer Ray is in trouble. That car got loose on the exit at turn number 2, and it caused a big checkup, and he lost 1, 2, 3, 4, make it 6 positions in the matter of a single corner.
The pack behind still tightly packed together. Hobbs gets loose. Morton captures the wall, looking for 3. Do they go 4 again down the front straightaway? They're going to decide against it. I think very recent memories of just 30 seconds ago when Cole Fraley got turned into the infield grass with that big 3 wide, 4 wide moment. And the top 2 running away. Quarter second between them. Whoa! Now we got Spencer right to the outside wall and more crashing down towards the infield wall. Caution comes out, and we'll slow her down again.
Like I said, you called it after the last yellow. Just a matter of time at that point. There's just not enough margin for error for all of these drivers to give it 100%. And ironically enough, for all of the contact that we saw on the outside, this one might have been happening anyways. That 75, it's tough to tell there. That thing's loose all the way off the corner, pushing up, would have had enough room to catch it, except for that 6-car array getting turned. 75, odd man out. And well, we've talked about a couple cars who have gotten away with it on the back straightaway, Nolan. That was not one of them. That's probably the worst spot you could hit. If you're Davey Hazard, right into the tires, that thing is absolutely chewed up.
Oh, Ray got some help. He got hooked by by Sean Kaiser. Saw McColgan go right up a body right back into the outside wall.
Got a lot going on there at once. Again, the 75 is loose on the bottom. Up top, you see the help that turns the other car around. And yeah, right there. Again, you literally could not hit a worse spot on the wall if you're that 75 at Davey Hazard. And he was somebody else who had been quiet tonight, was surging at the right moment. That outside look right there, that's going to give you a great look at the 24, into the 6, into the 75. 75 gets the big hit on the bottom. Not a ton of damage for those 2 cars up on the outside of the racetrack, but enough that they'll probably be coming down pit road looking for repairs.
And it was McColgan again that got into it with Sean Kaiser. So Kaiser first took out Spencer Ray, and then had a hand in taking out McColgan to put right back into the wall. I mean, what kind of odds is that for timing?
Again, most of these cars down pit road, coming in to top off on fuel if necessary. I'd be surprised if there were any tires left for those drivers, but you never know. As Cole Fralick and Teft, Ray, some other big names down pit road. Here's some of the other chaos that happened on that same run. Again, the wreck was on the back straightaway, but this was coming down the front stretch. Right there is the turn for the 15 car who got spit out of line. Again, good piece of driving to try to turn it back the other direction, but just was not able to keep it out of the inside wall. Pretty big hit on the left-hand side there, and that is why we've seen that machine down pit road for repairs. That one did not bring out a yellow, but shortly thereafter, the incident out of turn number 2.
You saw how much it was kind of skipping across the grass here, and you'll see it again here when we go into the infield. I mean, look at how much that car's bouncing up and down. No connection with the wheels, so try as he may, he had no control over that, and that car barely slowed down a bit on its way towards the concrete wall.
Not a lot to show for it for a couple of cars who were peaking at the best moment in this race. And the yellow flag takes some laps out of it, but I don't think will lessen the intensity of any of this. Expecting the lights to go out on the pace car this time by, which would set us up for a 14 lap to go run to the end. David Farmer, James Silvers, first and second, put them side by side on the front row. The margin between these two right now is non-existent.
Yeah. I mean, flip a coin, right? I mean, who's going to take the win on this one? It could go either way. If it could go either way if one of them decides to throw their teammate status to the wind. It could go either way if a driver like Robinson, Boundy, choose to get involved. I'm more worried about Dingler and Hobbs on the third row. Both those drivers have shown no qualms on getting involved in this title fight.
And remember, 5 extra points go to the race winner, so it would be 48 points for the win. It would be 42 points for second. That 6-point spread would likely be enough to negate any other possible combination of bonus points and stage points that these drivers have scored so far in this race. Neither Farmers nor Silvers will be eligible to score the most laps led in this race. The only other possible thing would be the fastest lap of the race. That's the only thing that could throw a wrinkle into this. But if you're these two, I think you throw that math out the window, Nolan. It's simple. You got to win this race and worry about the math on the other side. Simple task, side by side on the front row, coming to 14 to go.
Big question now, are we done ranking? Do we have another stoppage in us before the end of this race? Green flag back in the air as the field will rocket back down to the round towards turn number 1. Farmer pulling clear with the lead, and not a good launch from Silvers. Robinson opens up the door on the inside, trying to take away the number 2 spot. Jeremiah Hobbs will also want to take away 4th from Sean Boundy.
Trying to get that number 4 spot. Boundy wants to get back and into the conversation. He'll stay P4 for the moment. Hobbs tucks in line in 5th. Looking to the bottom. Boundy under the 5 of Mikkel Robinson. That battle is going to be for 3rd position on back as Farmer enjoys a 2-car length lead over Silvers.
Oh, trouble! Look out as cars sliding into the infield grass. McCall around, Ray around. No yellow will keep it green. They're both down into the infield, so look at what we've gotten away with another one.
Off of the racing surface, we stay green. And that's why, as the leaders, you got to stay laser focused and locked in. Robinson trying to get around Silvers. Nice defense. That 4-car of James Silvers giving it everything he's got. On the outside, that car was sideways in the gas to stay in P2. There's a look off of 4. That 51 just got too tight. Hip checked the car to the outside. Came down on the 6. The 6 had to go all the way through the grass, and that was a bad corner that fell apart quickly for that 51 team.
So we talked a lot about prospective drivers. What about crew chiefs? If you're Alex Penn, do you even tell them that happened behind you? Because that might rattle their focus.
I think maybe it's beneficial to just mention no caution, keep going, right? These drivers are going to know what's happening behind them because of the virtual mirrors, right, in the car. They'll see smoke behind them. As a leader, you're going to go till you hear the yellow anyways. I think it's worth mentioning. No yellow, keep digging, or still green, just so you don't get too distracted with what's going on. Now, if the leaders were behind the wreck, completely different story. Up front, though, just tell them to keep going, don't worry about it, and that allows them to focus on the lead. And now Silvers is in a tough spot right here. The 5 of Robinson gets him for second.
Caution.
Hold that thought. Caution behind them.
Maxwell Kroll tags the inside pit wall. He will not pick up the penalty. And this yellow will put us with under 10 laps to go. And, well, let's jump back, find out what puts us under the yellow flag now for the 6th time tonight. And Morton kind of came up into him a little bit there.
Yeah, it looked like that number 9 car was trying to get some of the side draft, and the 19 did move down a little bit, but I think in the end that's going to go on the 9 of Morton for just trying to get a little bit too much side draft, and basically came up the hill. The 19 gets turned on the left rear, and then again, pretty significant contact into the inside wall there. Again, he's trying to draft him. There's a little bit of movement down, but I think as the car on the bottom, you got to give a little bit more than that. And again, tough break for the 19 right there. Almost got away with it all, but that's a hit to the left front tire. That's not a good spot of the race car you want impacted.
So yellow flag out once again with only 10 laps to go. We'll restart in single digits. We're going to take a quick step back. When we return, back with more Green Flag TV. You won't miss a moment. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. You're watching the final race of the OMSRL Cup Series. My name is Remble alongside Evan Pasoko. And what a race it has been so far, Evan. And it is getting down to crunch time. There's no more time to wait around. Farmer, if he wins this race, he is the champion no matter what happens. But Silvers is right there and looking for the upset. I think it's safe to say teammates are out the window.
Yeah, we said early that there was going to be a point in where these cars were going to work together for much of this race, but you had to turn that off. I think it's go time now. Season on the line. 8 laps to go. Both lined up on the outside.
Entering the Geico restart zone with 7 laps the distance. Farmer picked the outside just to line up alongside his teammate. Green flag is back in the air. Silver's pushing him clear. Miguel Robinson. Robinson can do nothing about it. 3 wide already. And turn to the inside. Jeremiah Hobbs gets taken out into turn number 1. Big crash up into turn numbers 1 and 2. But critically, your championship leaders were not involved.
Yeah, they were ahead of it in big-time shades of big late race Homestead. Carl Edwards turned into turn number 1. Same kind of vibe to that one as they were trying to get up to speed. It was a 3-wide battle for 5th on back, and look for the kind of cream 12 right there, just out of line a little bit lower. I find it tough, Nolan, to put the blame squarely on the 16 in this one. I mean, Ryan Dingler's certainly being aggressive, going to the bottom lane, but he holds his left side tires pretty good. That 12 machine had tons of room to move up. Now, yeah, the 16's moving up into the corner, but you can't take the corner from the bottom, right? You need an arc into the corner. This high wide look's going to give you a benefit. Look for that number 12 in relation to the 5, right? As they get going, he's a little bit slow. The 16's going to go to the bottom, but the 12's got a lot of room up top that he's not playing with. The car on the bottom's expecting him to move up, right? to arc into the corner. That 12 was the lowest of the cars in the middle lane, and I think that's why those two cars ended up in the same spot. He maybe chalked that one up to 50-50. That's two cars going for one piece of real estate.
Boy, it just kept going all the way into turn number 2. You saw Ryan Dingler never was able to really lock it down. Kind of got into it big time with Stefan Purcell. Gage Teft in 6th place had a very close call. This is what he saw.
Here's Teft's perspective, couple of rows back on the outside of the racetrack. Not the best restart for him either. You see the gap open up, and there's the 3 wide up the road. The spin happens. Options are going to be limited. Try to give it full left, and what a piece of driving to sneak by that one. Might have lost a sticker off of the right front headlight of that thing, but nothing more. That was a close call.
Robert Peterson takes the lucky dog free pass, and at 33, looking more or less unscathed this afternoon. Oh boy.
And we're not done yet.
Not even close. I don't think overtime yet. If we do go down overtime, we have 3 chances for a green-white checkered finish. But I think this is still going to be restarting with 3 laps to go. Might be a knack green-white checker.
This time by, they're going to come around to complete lap number 96, and they'll have 97, 98, 99, and 100. So it'll be 4 laps to go this time by. If the lights go out on top of the pace car, you could be looking at a 3-lap run to the end of this race. That's a possibility. So all a couple different things in mind. So we'll watch the lights on the pace car. We'll see. Coming to 4 laps to go. How does this one shake out? Is it going to be a restart the next time by? Will it not be? Pace car is coming by. Let's take a look. It's going to be important. Farmer's going to be on the front row. Silver's going to be on row number 2, so they'll be staggered in comparison to each other. That's going to be a big storyline here. And as we come across the stripe, the lights on the pace car are out. So restart is coming at you. It'll be inside of regulation, and it'll be a 3-lap sprint to the end of the race if they can get all the way to the white flag to make it official.
Critically this time, Farmer can't clear up across the nose of his teammate. The only way that's going to work is if Silvers deliberately holds up the outside lane. But if he's going to do that, he's not going to be able to give Farmer the push down to turn number 1. So the strategy on using Silvers to try and push it clear doesn't fly this time.
All right, so we've got your championship cars, Nolan, in 2nd and 3rd spot. You've got a 3-lap run to the end of this race. Again, if neither of those cars, Silvers or Farmer, win this race, Silvers is in the catbird seat right now. I've got about a 4-point lead for him based on all the points that have been scored so far in this race. So if they don't finish more than 4 spots apart, neither of them win this race, it's going to be in Farmer's favor. So James Silvers, or in Silvers' favor, I should say. So if you're David Farmer, you're going to have to, I don't know if it's, go for broke territory yet, but that's got to be on your mind here. Finishing P2 is not going to win you this championship over James Silvers right now. He's too close to you.
This is nail-biting stuff here that we're battling with. And I think now my question for you, do you have a favorite?
Man, I mean, Nathaniel Ames up front, some of these other drivers, Farmer and Silvers. I think the 84 is in the catbird seat. Let's see if they can make it around. 2 laps to make it official. 3 laps to the checkered.
Farmer did a great job of getting clear immediately, trying to clear his teammate. He will do just that. So Silvers is going to be able to help him get that run that he needs to get clear down into turn numbers 1 and 2. Silver is going to start to look up to the high side, trying to get around him. Needs that run, though, down the straight. They're all sorts of split up deeper in the field. And now it's a drag race down to 3. Farmer still in front as we enter turn 3.
Farmer doing enough. A race win should secure the championship for him. So if you're James Silvers, you need something from P2, but it was not a good corner in turn 4. Sean Boundy under the 4 car. Going to challenge for 2nd, and that is only going to slow the 4 car up at 2 laps to go in this race. Boundy to the inside. Could he be the ultimate instigator? Can he play spoiler? Oh, there's trouble! Robinson gets into Silvers. They hang on.
Somehow they don't fall apart. One of the Zinc cars catches the wall. At this point, Silvers is begging for a last-minute caution. He needs this race to go to overtime. Could Sean Bounty disrupt this win? Bounty wants to take the last bit of glory of the season. Looking for the white flag this time by Will Bounty and Farmers Homes. I'm going for a title.
White flag in the air. This race is official. Here comes Silvers. Bounty lays it through. Now the 34 crossing back to the inside. How much of a factor is Sean Bounty going to be? David Farmer, race leader off of turn number 2. Silvers, 1 car length back. The title is on the line.
Will he put the bumper to his teammate at 3 and 4? Looking for the inside. Bounty trying to make it 3. Bounty can't get the nose in there. Silver's trying to chase him down. Farmer off the top side of turn 4. Down to the stripe. David Farmer, does he hang on? Silver's closing. Not close enough. And David Farmer rallies from behind. And he is your official Season 8 champion.
Throughout the night, it was James Silvers who had scored the most bonus points, who was in the captain's seat, and we said repeatedly that the trump card to all of that was to be the race winner. And that is exactly what David Farmer has done tonight in Southern California. Talk about a Game 7 walk-off home run win for the driver of the 84 car.
That is insane by the smallest of margins. The entire season, Silvers has been on point with the championship. He's been the one that has been in front. Farmer has always been the bridesmaid, almost never the bride. And this time, right when it counts, he takes one more race win on the season. I cannot believe that that went down the way it did. Silvers was the odds-on favorite. We thought Farmer's going to be the one that might be playing second fiddle. What an upset in Auto Club.
And who would have thought after 16 rounds, you didn't have to reset them, you didn't have to put them head-to-head. 16 races, 2 of the best cars, both out of the same team, would come into this race tied, would finish first and second. Could not have been any closer, could not have been any better of a show, and just pleased to be able to witness it all. And that is a well-deserved celebration, because I don't want to know what David Farmer's heart rate's been at for the last hour and a half. He needs to take a deep breath and get to the celebrations.
He is going to have a very long celebration ahead of him, and I have to say, I do not blame him one bit. We'll take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon. At the end of a wild season finale, one of the craziest finales we've ever seen in Green Flag TV history, Farmer takes the championship by just 0.09 of a second. Sean Bounty will finish this race off at third, try to throw an upset for the title. Ended up having to fall back and settle for third. Gage Temple picked things up in fourth. Dawson Gassion in fifth. Noah Swapper back at sixth. Mikael Robinson at seventh. Spencer Ray in eighth. Austin McColgan in ninth. And Brett Rucker closes out the top 10.
Continued on through, Justin Wilson comes home in 11th tonight with Jeremiah Hobbs in 12th. Dallas Holscher in 13th position. Maxwell Kroll in 14th. And Barrett Morton comes home in a P15. Ryan Dingler finishing in 16th. Jacob Noyes in 17th. Cole Freilich had a better night than what he gets at a P18. Stephen Purcell in 19th. And Nathaniel Ames, your top 20.
Continuing on down through the field this afternoon, we are going to be seeing Sean Kaiser back in 21st and Robert Peterson back in 22nd. One lap down. Hazard and Loya both failing to finish the race this afternoon. The only two drivers of Artis DNS, but both of them in the back half of this race. What do you think, Kevin? Do we want to start from the top and go to the bottom, or do we want to start from third place and build our way on up?
I think David Farmer's had a long enough night, Nolan. I think we should get to the celebrating first if you can dial up our champ.
I feel similar, and we'll definitely be able to give a chit-chat here to David Farmer this afternoon, as it is going to be a wild exit to the season here in this one, as we'll bring up the new Cornerstone Motorsports champion David. Holy cow, what a rally at the last minute to make that work. You had to really work to fend off your teammate in a 3-lap dash. Talk us through the night.
Oh man, it was every lap was just felt like it took forever. I couldn't get the race to speed up. It didn't seem like, but man, it's so hard to put it into words. It's so awesome to win the championship. Second one I've gotten racing for Cornerstone, other leagues and stuff involved, but yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. Unfortunate way that we ended up tied, but I think we put on a show. At least I hope so, anyways.
It kind of just, I mean, talk us through the whole night, because it was always going to be a battle between you and Silvers. We were waiting for it to be a point where you two were going to stop working together, but it was one of those cases where you can't really predict how a race is going to pan out. You had all of the dramas, you had cautions coming out at the worst possible moments. Silvers was looking like the odds-on favorite to win for much of the night. At what point do you think things flipped in your favor?
I think that I was maybe able to save tire a little bit better. James was racing with everybody, and I kind of just took the stance that going into the night, we to further explain what we were doing with our strategy, we both had obviously we're a team, and we were down I think 19 team points going into the night. So I was we wanted to push and see if we could possibly one of us was obviously going to get the championship, but we also really wanted to get that team win as well. And I think I just heard from our crew chief, Alex Penn, that we secured that as well. So, it was, it's one of those things where we're battling like, okay, we'll wait, we'll keep driving, and then see where it ends out. And, last 4 or 5 laps, if we're capable, we'll race each other hard and see where we land. Kind of felt like that's how it ended, but man, that was an awesome finish. James dropped back early there at the end, and, I thought we were, it was going to be kind of an easy, holding the top sides, you got a big run off the top. So, but yeah, awesome race, awesome season, great group of guys. Can't wait to do it again.
It has just been made official as well that you have officially taken the championship by 2 points over James Silvers. We kind of do. That's how the numbers are going to pan out in this one. But now that pen to paper has been signed as you being the Season 8 champion in the record books, next season rolls around. Are you going to go for 2?
Well, of course, I'm going to do everything I can to try to go for 2. We were talking about that tonight. Planning out the next steps and running again and see what happens. So, we're excited for the possibility to run again, and we'll just have to wait and see how schedules play out and things.
David, thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. Congratulations on not just one final win to cap off the season, but also by taking the Season 8 championship in doing so. We'll see you not next week, but whenever we see you next on OMSRL on Green Flag TV.
Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for doing all the broadcasting and everything too. Huge shout out.
David Farmer comes home number 1 this afternoon. We'll move down to the other driver on the side of the championship battle. James Silvers finishes second in the race and the title. He stands by with Evan Pasoko.
We're standing by with the driver of the number 4 machine. And James, first off, congratulations. There's going to be a lot to celebrate in this one. A second place in the Drivers' Championship. Also, the P1 secured in the Team Championship. But, of course, we got to talk the battle with you and David. I mean, you guys come into this one tied. You finished a single point apart. It seemed like all night long you guys were just so close to each other, could not get away, and it made for a thrilling view at home. But what was that like from behind the wheel?
It was a good race, throughout the whole thing, whenever we got into practice and got into qualifying and everything else. And I'm glad that Farmer won the title. I mean, I know that we got the team title and everything else. I know I lost to my teammate, but I'm kind of bummed to finish second place. But I mean, as long as I'm losing to my teammate, I guess it's all right. But yeah, just me and him had a tremendous season. I mean, we kept putting it on every week and just kept coming. And towards them last 3 or 4 weeks, I just let him get too close and give up about a 22 points lead. So I'm kind of disappointed in myself for letting him even be close enough to be able to get it. So, but overall, I mean, that was just tremendous racing from everybody in the field. I thought that was a great race from, absolutely everybody. I mean, I know we had a few cautions and everything else, but the racing and everything was spectacular tonight, and couldn't ask for a better season from everybody at Cornerstone. I mean, me and Alex Penn and the crew chief and David Farmer as the driver, and I don't know. I just kind of let it slip away this time. Just tired of finishing second place at these things.
Back on this race, I mean, obviously you and David are teammates. We talked to the team earlier tonight before the race started. First thing that Alex and everybody was talking about was, hey, obviously we want to get this drivers' championship as well. How did you walk the balance in this race between, you need the 84 to do good if you guys want to be team champions, but you don't want it to be too good in the case that it gets you by one spot, and that's the difference, right? Did you race tonight differently, knowing the fact that the guy that you were going up against was a teammate compared to if it was anybody else in the field?
I always race teammates with a little bit more respect than anybody else. But no, I mean, tonight I know we was in a different type of strategy. I mean, we was on the same strategy, and there was different people on different strategies, but me and Farmer were on the same. And, I mean, I just got to do better. I mean, he absolutely just outdrove me right there towards the last 20 laps, and I'm proud of him. I couldn't be more happy for him, but I mean, that's a bad mistake on my end. I mean, I tried to keep up and was doing too much and kept getting tight and trying to put the car where I couldn't put the car, and I was just trying too hard, and I was, just let it get to me and trying to fight for this championship. I mean, I've been so close so many times to be able to get to this, and just for the Cup Series to be able to be at this level that we're racing with the people that's in this league. I mean, I'm happy I finished second place. I mean, I really am blown away that I finished second in the point standings compared to everybody else this season. Just wanted a little bit more. But congratulations to Cornerstone and everything else, and congratulations to David Farmer for bringing home the driver championship to Cornerstone. And I just surprised that we put on such a good race that me and him could even pull off the team championship tonight. So I'm very excited about that.
Still a lot to hold your guys' heads high about. Team champions, had a great showing in the driver championship as well. James, we appreciate your time here post-racing, and congratulations. Thank
you, buddy. I'd like to thank y'all for putting on a good broadcast, man. Y'all do an amazing job.
We appreciate it, and listen, tonight you gave us plenty to talk about and put on a good show. That was your P2 finisher tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. Part of the team champions is your runner-up finisher tonight in James Silvers. Well, the third man in, Nolan, almost made the end of this thing super interesting. It was a third-place finish for Sean Bounty, your trackside with him.
Sean, what a wild final 20 laps or so that was. You were up at the front pretty much all night, and you were really looking to throw the upset there for the title in those closing stages. I think last-minute glory was on the line for you?
We had a little bit better run than I even anticipated, but I felt completely in control of the first half of this race, and I knew from a previous encounter I had with this track that you can run it harder, sooner, and when I was ready to take off early in the race, we just controlled the front, and lap 44, roughly around there, we pitted for a second set of tires, hoping for a much longer run. And when 10 laps later, we got another caution, the other half of the field pitted, we got offset, and I knew I was a bit in trouble. So I had to find my way to work slowly back toward the front, slower than I expected or hoped, but we got back there. And it takes a couple laps for my tires to come in, and I've been making a lot of my passes running the bottom lane. And with all the back-to-back cautions, the tires were cooling off too much, and on the first lap of the last restart, I couldn't make the pass on Farmer, and I knew going into turn 4 in the last lap that 3 and 4, I could make it stick, getting past both of them. But right as I started coming down, I saw Silvers come down to the bottom line, and I bailed out of the gas real hard because otherwise I'd have just plowed right into him. He didn't have the tires to make it stick, but he made a great effort to try to, they were battling for the championship, and I wasn't going to push him through the corner. So kind of had to settle there and hope for third. But we had a really great race. It just right there was just unfortunate back-to-back, and the tires just started leveling off a bit, and I needed another lap to really get them heated up so I can run the bottom the way I had been to make passes.
You may have only finished 6th in the championship this season, but that's not to say you don't have some impressive stats on the season as well. 8 top 10s, 5 top 5s, 2 podiums. Just didn't quite materialize with a few DNFs towards the front half of the season. Do you reckon, though, we go around into July for the next season here of OMSRL, you might have a shot on making a run at Cornerstone Motorsports?
That's a difficult one. I think we're running the Xfinity cars next season. I haven't been a big fan of those, but I gotta hand it to those guys at Cornerstone. I've never, in all the years that I've been racing, see two guys so committed to working together every single race. Whenever they're at the front, they are committed to helping the other one out. Whether just whoever's faster. They are helping each other in the drafts, moving over so that way they can get the draft away from somebody else. It is really hard when you get both of them up front together. You need somebody else with you to work against that. And they did a hell of a job being really committed as teammates.
Well, talking about teamwork, you've usually been kind of running as a lone wolf so far in the season. Are you thinking of joining up with any of the existing teams here for next season or bringing other friends in?
I got thrown in with some guys, and their schedules were a bit rougher than I anticipated. So I expected a bit more than what ended up happening. But that's just how it is sometimes. They got real life stuff going on, and I had a rough season and rough time so far this year personally. But yeah, it's just we had something going at the beginning of the season, and a lot of things fell apart. And so we'll regroup and see what happens next season.
Well, Sean, thanks for taking the time to join us here this afternoon. Congratulations on taking third place tonight and sixth in the championship, and we'll hopefully see you again in July.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This race looked like it was a hell of a lot of fun.
Sean Bounty comes home third this afternoon, and Evan, that is going to be a wrap then for Season 8 of the OMSRL Cup Series. What a journey from start to finish this season. I don't think I could think of a better way for that final race to pan out.
I can only imagine how the drivers are feeling after participating in that for an hour and a half, Nolan, because I am mentally tired from just trying to follow all of the chaos. And that was from, up here in the cushiness of the broadcast booth. For the guys down there on track, 3, 4 wide. There were chaos, there were wrecks, there were saves, all underneath the umbrella of this overarching championship battle that came down to the difference between first and second place. You could not ask for more. What an end to this 16-race campaign.
Well, before we can get to the next season, we'll go over what's coming on up next here on Green Flag TV. As it is the PSR Simulator Expo Truck Series out tomorrow night from the Rockingham Speedway alongside the Beerley swinging just up the coast to Portland. The Speed Cup Series kicks off their playoff season at Kansas Speedway for the first round of the chase. The SRA NASCAR Classic Series also out for more action on Saturday nights, followed by the Classic IndyCar Series headed out to the first of 2 trips to the Brickyard on Sunday afternoon. That will then take us to the High Time Racing League Guardian Premier Series over at the Rockingham Raceway, where they will duke it out for the 5th race of the season. About 200 laps there as well. That'll be at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time next Monday. Want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you? Check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. A big congratulations, as always, to all of the folks that competed with us in this season. For those that made it to the final end of the course, to our big championship competitors, and a huge thank you to all of you for joining us for more racing action. And thank you to OMSRL for having us on board for yet another fantastic season. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Evan Pasoko, and we'll see you when we go racing once again in July.